Hi everybody, we have mango on the left, rainbow on the right. I hope everyone's having a great day. If not, hopefully this video could give you some cheerful insights to birds. Today I'd like to talk about birds in general and what to consider if you are thinking of getting a bird. Of course, I only have budgies, but there are many species, many types and sizes of birds, and the most attractive in birds are, of course, their coloring and their feather colors. So you have to ask yourself, why am I buying this bird? Who am I buying this bird for? If you're buying a bird for somebody else, I do not recommend it. You can guide them and help them decide what is best for them and make them aware of what is part of the responsibility of being a bird owner. So it's best to buy a bird for yourself or a bird for your child if you're an adult. So let's see. I really enjoy birds because I've had birds most of my life, and I know their personalities. I know how they behave. I know how much care they need, and I am still able to work around their needs because that's the biggest part. Having birds is not just having an inanimate object. They are a living creature, and they are flock creatures actually. And if you're only planning to buy one, be prepared to be their flock. You would be their flock. So if you buy them in pairs, it's a little better if you don't have that much time on your hands to spend with them because they could be very lonely. So these are social creatures. And we have to consider about their companionship. Birds are great companions because they never judge, they give unconditional love, and they're great. But in exchange for that, you have to take care of them really well for them to thrive and for them to be happy and healthy. So we need to consider that and what we need to do. Oh, it looks like Rainbow is looking into the mirror. Okay, a little quiet this morning, but let's consider what we need to do. Okay, in order to decide what type of birds. Okay, the bigger the bird, of course, the messier and the more demanding they are, and you need to have a lot of space. So you have to consider the space that you have, your dwelling. Do you live in an apartment? Do you live in a house? You got to be considerate about your neighbors if you live in an apartment. You may not think that these birds are noisy, but your neighbor could hear very well through the walls, right? Or upstairs to the floors. So a lot of considerations. So once you decide on which type of bird, okay, you have to think about the care too, their lifespan. Okay, do you want a bird that would talk readily? Do you want a bird that is smart and that can do tricks, or do you want a bird that would like to cuddle with you? So not all birds possess all those attributes. You have to do your research on what type of birds meet what you expect a bird to have. So I would write down on a piece of paper what you expect a bird to do, and then see which species of birds, what type of birds fall into that category. Okay? And being a bird owner, the best thing is you have to have time. You have to have patience to train them and to tame them. Otherwise, these birds are going to be miserable if they're locked up in the cage. As you can see, my cages are all open door. So they can get their exercise, they get their freedom, and that also affects how they behave. So the bigger the bird, the more mess they're going to give. And if you have allergies, you got to consider that too. Or if your family members have allergies. Okay? So budgies are pretty good. Even with allergies or any kind of lung problems, I think people do very well with them. But to go up a category like a cockatiel, they have a lot of dust that they emit through their feathers. It's not as though they do on purpose, but that's the nature of their feathers and the nature of the bird. So you got to consider that. And if you have kids, the larger the bird, the more likely the bird can do a lot of damage, not only for children, but to adults too. So the smaller the bird, the smaller the beak, the smaller the bite, the less damage of biting. And also they could also bite and chew and rip and tear your furniture. So depending on how your lifestyle is, if you have all antiques and things that are not replaceable and you don't have another room for your bird, I would strongly against buying a bird, because birds do chew, they do poop, they will mess up your house. So you have to know this in advance. And some birds are more playful, and depending on, I guess, the species, and even if you pick the species that are playful, it depends on the personality of the bird. So that, I would say, is the luck of the draw. Unless you go to the pet shop and you watch the bird for many, many weeks, but that doesn't guarantee that the same bird will be there when you decide to buy the bird. So it's really by luck. I have birds that like to be very quiet. I have birds that like to talk a lot. I have birds that like to play. I had birds that are really people-oriented, that they prefer people over toys. So it's the luck of the draw, I would say. And each species have their own longevity, how long they live. And generally for birds, the smaller the bird, the less number of years. The larger the birds, the more number of years. Some parrots could live 100 years or more. Yeah, and some parrots could live 70 years or more, or 30 years or more. These budgies, they say 15 to 20, but I personally only have heard of one that lived close to 20, and most of them live only a few years. And I don't even have birds that have more than 10 years. Close to 10 years was the longest bird that I have in budgies. Okay, so what they quote you in the books and the internet about their longevity could be in the best scenario, in the best of health, and in the best of environment, and best of care. So that's why they can live up to those years. But just to prepare you, they do live long lives. You have to commit yourself to take care of them, because the ones that are bigger, they live so long that it's not unlikely that they have several owners. But it's very traumatic for them to go from home to home, or even in a rescue or foster homes. So, these birds have feelings too, and it's really traumatic. I mean, if you never owned a bird before, your house environment has to be bird proof. So just to make a short list is even your cookware, okay? And your fireplace, you shouldn't have a fireplace, because the smoke of the wood would affect their lungs right away. Okay, I don't even have one of those electric fireplaces, but I think those are okay. It's just the wood burning ones. And for cookware, of course, the Teflons and the non-stick pans, those are all no-nos. The fumes could just kill these birds instantly. And always, when you cook, put your exhaust fan on. I only have stainless steel cookware, and if you have a smoker in the house, have that smoker go outside to smoke, because something like that, with their tiny lungs, they cannot endure that type of air. So these birds' lungs are very sensitive, and paint and chemicals, sprays, you have to look into it and know what not to use in your house, because these birds are very fragile and delicate in terms of lung functions. And of course, look into veterinarian care near you. Not all veterinarians look at birds. They're called avian vets, and you got to prepare for that. And I would say the space. Okay, some people would like to have tabletop cages like I do, so I like it that way. Some people have larger homes. They could have the floor standing ones, But the bigger the cage, the more time you're going to spend cleaning it, because most likely you're going to let those cages go for a long time before cleaning it. And when you do finally get around cleaning it, it's really like caked up inside. So I personally like to clean up several times a day, keep everything nice and neat, because I think my birds appreciate a clean home too. Oh, Mango's napping already. Okay, and Rainbow's on the swing. Okay, you can go nap nap. You can, okay, go nap nap. All right, and also the type of food. And I would say the most expensive for budgies, I would say, it's their food and the accessories. The bird itself is not expensive, but the larger birds could go in the thousands, so those are expensive. So larger birds are very expensive to begin with, and the accessories are bigger, their needs are bigger. My birds gets the pellets and the seeds and also fresh food, as you can see in the clips around their cages. They need daily fresh water. I boil my water and I cool it down, and I always had boiled water for my birds. I think that's the safest way, and also for longevity in birds. But I think I might be the only person or a few people in the world would do that. But I boil my water, same thing with human consumption. I boil my water before we drink it. Even though it is safe to drink the tap water, but I just do it. That's just me. And you have to consider your time, your lifestyle. I had a YouTube viewer said that he loves birds, but one day he will get it, but not now, because he's a trucker. He drives the truck as a living, for a living, and he watch YouTube videos all the time. Love birds, but he knows he cannot be in an apartment and he cannot spend quality time with his birds. So why buy something or have something that you cannot provide the best scenario and the best environment for? So this guy is very smart. He said that one day when he has another type of career, he'll have an apartment, have a nice environment, and then buy a bird. So he's very prudent. I hope this video gives people a good sense of what these birds need and what to think and consider before actually making the move of buying a parrot, because they are a long commitment. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you. Bye.